When you buy a boat off of Facebook Marketplace, you always run the risk of the motor dying on your maiden voyage. We made it back on land. We're safe. Not going fishing tomorrow. Going to be fixing a motor. If you're interested in changing the carb or the fuel line on a Tohatsu M30A3 motor, it's a 30. You know, this thing, I don't know who Captain John's XPR is, but we're going to change this all out. How this works is the fuel line comes in from here, and that's obviously down through the tank, comes in through here, goes in to here. You can see the direction of the arrow, comes out there, goes into the fuel pump, and then out of the fuel pump over to the inlet of the carb right here. And I did take off the air cover, you know, blower, whatever, or air intake piece. I forget the name. I'll look it up and put it right here. It's in the manual. I went ahead and took this one off, and I just put it back on here to kind of hold on to it without losing it, because getting to this one's a little bit more of a pain in the butt. But I did want to check to make sure that this gasket that's on here matches the gasket that I ordered, because the first gasket that I ordered off of Amazon, they didn't look anything like the gasket that goes on this. eBay one came and it was perfect. It was like $8. So yeah, let's see what we can do on hooking this thing up. This is on the inside of the motor. Take it like that, you pull that down and it closes like that. Since we're going to replace this, we'll go ahead and undo that. I got a 14-inch socket. Man, I am freaking sweating out here, guys. Woo. If you guys watch this and you enjoy this video, or you enjoyed any of my other videos, my DIYs, consider subscribing if you haven't. It's free. Doesn't cost anything. Not at all. Not one penny. You're here anyways. Please. Thanks. Because it doesn't fit. So let's just double check to make sure everything else looks about the same before we automatically assume everything's all good. It looks good otherwise. It's just not quite the right size for the nut. So we'll go ahead and use that. And we will put this right up in here. So you may have to get a little creative. Again, this is why we don't just automatically throw things away, and we keep them along the way to make sure that everything's going to work. You know, that nut, there's nothing wrong with that nut, and it works fine. All right, so we're just going to get a little snug. Doesn't have to be super, super tight. It's just holding this in place. We will put this here so we do not contaminate the actual little inlet ports and jets. And now we're going to move on to running the fuel line from here to the new fuel filter. Let's go ahead. Now, what size is that? It's not a 10. It's not a 14. Is it the magical 13? Yes, it is. So we'll take this off for now, just so I can be a little bit better. We want to make sure we don't lose any of our washers. Put them right up there. Hopefully you guys got a good little angle right here. And I'll zoom in on it. Now, these little brass fuel line clips came with this. I do not have the handy dandy pliers that work with this. All right, like I mentioned before, with this fuel pump, there is a gasket. We're going to go ahead and put that in the right spot. We're not using these fuel clamp things just because I got these other ones. And we'll use these at a later date. And I mentioned it before that some of the part numbers, kind of like the fuel filter and even this fuel pump, you'll see that here's the part numbers: Yamaha, Suzuki, Tohatsu, Nissan, and it fits the following engine models: Yamaha 2-stroke, 25, 30, 40, and you can see that it fits all sorts of different things. So even though this engine is 30, 40 years old, man, that's a lot of years. Anyways, it's still applicable to a lot of different models and versions. So this might help you even if you're not working on this motor, but you're working on one very similar. So let's go ahead and get this thing going, because I am dying. All right, where did I just put that gasket? I did go ahead and clean it up really nice and let it just kind of evaporate the, the rubbing alcohol. I used 91% alcohol and got, like, I'd say almost all the gunk out. And then I even ran a little bit of a Q-tip up in there and cleaned that out inside of that port. Put a screw through here and then put the flat side against the motor. And then we're going to go ahead and grab the other one and get that. Oh, come on. This is the reason. I got to line up this gasket while also lining up the screws. That's going to make it the easiest way. So that way we don't drop everything and everything gets lined up just right. But we also have to make sure that our fuel line isn't getting pinched too much, and it is 100% pinched. Way too much. So this is it. We're going to have to fix this fuel line before we go ahead and connect this down. Let me show you what happened. Let's see if we turn this. I think if we get it something like that, that might be good for this. And then what we'll have to do is rework this piece over here and make sure it comes out. So that's what we're going to do right now. We go ahead and mount this. I think then what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece off and maybe try to like put it over on the other side. We're going to figure it out. That's what happens when you do things for the first time. But the beauty of this is you can learn from my mistakes. So we'll go ahead and put this in here just so that way we know that this is in the right spot. This is where we want it to be. We're not going to tighten it down all the way. We don't really want to compress the gasket just yet until we know that this is going to work. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay. So it really is just the length, the shape. I think as you'll notice right here, look at that. That's beautiful. Right there. That is beautiful. It's not pinched there. It's not pinched there. I don't think it's going to starve anything. And now we just have to go from here over to the carb. But we got to replace this carb. And like I said earlier, I already went ahead and took off some of the nuts and linkages. And the reason being is because I was making sure that the gasket fit. So now we're going to go ahead and take it off. But you can kind of see you have this. All right, so this is right here. You have that. You got to get a little socket that'll fit in here. I'll put the size. I think it's this one right here, which is a 10 millimeter. Yeah, it's 10 millimeter. And you got, I got the little, what is it, the 1/4 inch drive. And that one fits in these little holes right here. The larger ones don't. What is it? 1/4, 3/8, and half. So 1/4 inch does. And that's what you want to use on a 10 millimeter socket to take this off. You take this off, you set it within reach, and then you take your 10 millimeter ratchet wrench, if you will. This is probably going to be the easiest way to do it, just because on this side over here, back in here, it's really hard to get a box in there. I don't even know if this is going to work, to be honest with you. See, getting into here, because of you have the solenoid stuff, you have the wiring stuff, then you also have these different linkages. It's kind of a pain in the butt to get that one off because you're moving in micrometers. But we're going to try. We'll see when we go to put it back on. But for now, we'll go ahead and just take this off. And we're going to just go ahead and use this right here. Loosen it up and make sure we don't lose this nut. We'll put that right up on top. Then here's the other one. Boom. And we can use this if we can fit it on there. But we can't, so never mind. The ratchet box end wrench is not a winner for this job, but the 10 millimeter wrench is. Good stuff. All right, here's the carb. I ripped it out before already. It's actually not that bad if you look at it. But something got clogged somewhere in this line. And since the new carb was 80 bucks, I don't feel like rebuilding and cleaning this. It just took too much. It would take too much time. So here's the gasket. And this gasket is what is hard to find sometimes. So let's show you the new carburetor that I got, again, on the internet, Amazon, which I will link below. Here is I got it from JLM Marine on Amazon. I'll put the affiliate link below. And what you get with it, though, is the carburetor. You don't get a gasket. There's no gasket. And then you see the carburetor and you see this hole right here and you're like, oh, maybe the gasket has to have that hole. No, it doesn't. It doesn't have that hole over there at all. I don't know what that hole is for. I don't know why the gasket doesn't need to have it. But if you look at it and we put it the same way, so let's go ahead and put it the same way. Overall, it looks pretty much identical. Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and hook it up. We're going to clean up this right here. Just like we did with the other one, we're going to make sure that we clean this off. Make sure that there's no gasket residual, anything that would prevent a good seal. We want to go ahead and deal with that. And while we're here, we might look at a couple other things before we put everything back together. All right. I just want to see what that did. I mentioned the safety equipment, the wires and everything. So while I was in here, I was following some of the wires to see where they went, and this is where they went. They went crimped, burned, whatever. I don't know if you can see that. And that is this stop button here. And then the other one, which is also related to stopping, and that is right here. As you can see, just cut, melted, whatever, done. So yeah, so I get to look at, I already got the wiring diagram from the manual. We'll go ahead and do a video on that next. Hooking one of these back up, making sure everything's good to go. And you can see it's just hanging out there. But right now, we're not going to worry about it because we got better things to do, like a carburetor. Versus the new gasket. As you can see, that is a perfect match. So Pro Marine gasket carb based Tohatsu. It says 90 horsepower, but I have a 30 horsepower motor. These parts are used on so many different versions of these motors. 346-020-110, and that is the one you'll need for this engine and many, many others that are just like it. Anyways, went ahead and cleaned this up with the 91% alcohol, either acetone, 91% alcohol, because it eats adhesive, and also it evaporates pretty quickly. I'm going to go ahead and line up the gasket and put that on. And while I do that, I'm not going to be able to really record too well, I don't think, but we'll try. Just because the other camera's dead. So I'm doing this with a cell phone. Not the easiest thing. Ooh. One-handed. And then what we'll do is after we line this up, we'll go ahead and line up the... Well, I got some plastic in my mouth. We'll line up the carburetor, the brand new one that I just showed you. And we want to make sure that we have it the right way. And we can tell that it's the right way by the fact that this fuel line is facing up. So this fuel inlet right here, it's facing up. And also the bowl is on the bottom. So that is what we want. And we're going to go ahead and line that up and get that on there the best we can. It's hard to do one-handed, but I'll try to get it anyways. Look at that. All right, now that that is lined up, we'll get these nuts on here. Just kind of like finger tight for right this second. We got to get this on there without like actually doing that, without dropping it in the wrong spot. I don't know how this is going to work. There's no real great way to do this. Let me see. You know, we could take all of this off right here which hopefully we don't have to, even though I do need to redo this wiring anyways. But we want to try to do it without having to do that. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to be able to, though. If I can get my fingers in there just at hold on now. Come on, baby. Oh, yeah, look at that. That's called total luck. Total, utter luck that I got just the right balance on that. And then we will have to use the wrench, we just want to get a little snug right now. We don't want it, again, tightened up too much. We want to figure out if there is a torque specification, and if so, I don't know how we'll actually be able to torque it on the one side, but if we can get it close to torque, I want to make sure that it does not leak any fuel. Right now I'm just kind of trying to get it a little taut, if you will, or somewhat tight. So that way, when I'm doing these little micro turns, it actually will tighten some stuff up. All right, that's gonna take a little bit. I don't wanna bore you with that. So we'll go ahead and tighten that up a little bit. Tighten this up a little bit. Get them lock washers basically locked down, and then we'll call that a day. Now it's time to put this over to here. That should be pretty simple. We're gonna run it from here all the way to here and stopping right here. Let me go ahead and cut a piece and I'll be back. I already have an old piece, so I am really gonna just kind of make it be the same exact length, shape as this one, and hope that nothing gets pinched, because this is definitely softer than this. Clean it up, get it flush as possible. Go ahead and get some pliers. I found my rusty old pliers that allow me to really pinch this thing down, get it to how I want it. It makes it a lot easier to maneuver this thing, especially over and down onto past the kind of knurl that you want to make sure that it doesn't like pop up off of. Here we go here, and like I said, we have to go over through this cable tie or cable router, clip, clamp, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to do this here and get this on the actual carburetor. And as we do that, we will make sure that we get it down all the way down to where that is nice and clamped on there as well. And push this back down. Pull this over, pop it down, and then now it's there. We want to make sure, since this is a little softer, that we don't pinch it too much, and just kind of like use it as a guide to hold it in place so it kind of can run freely up and out of the way of these different lines that we'll get run. So we have this is there. So I think this is the only one that we actually had to take off. I'll have to definitely make sure I check it, but question is, what is the best way? There we go. Right here, you see how this thing moves? We pushed it forward all the way, put in the choke line, and now the plastic thing right here, we can just rotate up, and then it can go back down. So we pushed it forward, put in the thing, and then rotate that up, and now we have it there. So if we pull the choke, you see it closes it, and we push it in, it's good to go. Fully closed or open, whatever you want to call it. It's fully closed, open. Choke is on, choke is off, and that's how we start our motor up. We may have to adjust this, as other things may need to be adjusted on this motor now that we have a new carburetor and the idle screws and all that stuff. So we're gonna do that tomorrow. But if we turn this handle, right, and we turn it that way, it turns this. So turn it, and when that turns here, see that goes that way, and then right here pushes that way, and that opens and does throttles, which you can't see. You can see that this turns right here, but I don't see if you yeah, you can see down in there. So when I turn it, you can see how the fly is opening and closing. That is what we want to see. This is a 10 millimeter nut or bolt, and we want to make sure that we have a very small ratchet. Sure that we get this thing lined up. It's going to be a little bit of a pain in the butt, I have a feeling. I have an adapter on it, so I can use my, what is it, 3/8? All right, this I guarantee does not need to be super tight, so we're not going to do that. We do not want to make it super tight. We just want to make sure that it's tight enough, again, like anything else, nice and snug. It's not going to fall off. Gets enough of a seal in there so that the air, flows the proper way and it's not sucked in from other areas, I guess, if you will, causing issues. All right, I think that's it. I mean, yeah, just a little piece of plastic. I don't know. All right, the flow comes from this. So that means this is that side. So that's the gas tank side. That's the short side. And then the longer side is right here. Now we're just going to push this on there. Get that out of the way. Push it on there all the way. Nice and snug. And you can even see right here, it's a little bit snug, just trying to get over it. So what we're going to do in this case, we're going to see if we can loosen it up just enough to get it over. And of course, I need 2 hands for this. I loosened it up, but I didn't let it come all the way out, so it's going to be a pain. It now goes over top of that. So we're going to go ahead and tighten that one up, and then we'll set up the other side. Now we just connect this right back up to here, pull this out, and put it on there. And now it's in there, and we want to make sure it's not coming off. It's not coming off. And we have a brand new 3/8 fuel line from there to there. And this, I don't know what this was. This was some homemade crap. But we got our flow from the tank all the way through. We're just going to pump it up. I hear something. Might take a little bit just because it's brand new and I don't know how much fuel's in this. Oh, look, there you go. There you go. Did you see it? We're getting fuel. And you can see there is junk in there, so I definitely want to replace, all right, let me see, can you see in there? Do it again. I don't know if you can see the little black stuff. Anyways, I saw a little black stuff, so that means in here there's some junk, and we got to get it. Luckily, we have a new fuel filter. Hopefully, that will work out really well and filter everything and doesn't cause us any issues. But yeah, that's it. So now tomorrow what I'll do is I'll try to fire it up and see how it goes. Make sure that there's no leaks. We're going to see if this will work. Get our little air muffs on here so we don't overheat. And we can flush this motor out and keep it cool. And then we'll fire it up. Let me go get that water started. The key in, we got water going all through it. Pull the choke. Pump up the gas. Make sure there's fluid going in there. And fire it up. Look at that. Not bad. There you go. Show this again. Adjust your idle, it's right here. Right there's the idle screw, carburetor, and it shut down for whatever reason. We got our fuel pump, everything. And I'm still probably gonna adjust the idle a little bit. If I push this all the way back down, it turns off, so probably means I need to adjust that a little bit. But overall, it's good to go. It's going to be good on the water, and it needs to warm up some. After they warm up, they'll idle a little better. But yeah, I don't see any fuel leaks anywhere. I'll check it again, but this is the video. That's it, guys. It works.